Welcome to the Pillar Podcast, where we put racial equity front and center. Join us as we explore equity. We'll take a look at overcoming opportunity gaps and strategies that ensure equitable learning experiences for all students in JCPS.
Hello, everyone. My name is Delquan Dorsey. I'm the Community Engagement and Supplier Diversity Coordinator for Diversity, Equity, Poverty Department of Jefferson County Public Schools. And I'm so excited to be with you today and to talk with our guest, Miss Whitney Powell of Garden Girl Foods and Garden Girl Gives. And so I want to just start off, first of all, thank you for letting us come and visit with you and your willingness to share with us.
Absolutely.
So tell us about yourself. Who is Whitney Powell?
So I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. I've been here 4 or 5 years. I'm a trained chef. And as I got deeper into being a chef, I was reminded that kids don't have access to nutrition the way that I did when I was a kid. So I was a trained chef as well as a cafeteria manager at a school. I did that for 12 years. And I was just constantly reminded that, gosh, the life that I had is not the life that these kids have. They don't know what it's like to eat food straight out of the dirt. And so it changes their taste buds. And so I said, if I ever get an opportunity to share that with kids, I will. And so during COVID, that happened.
So tell me, go back to that though. You say you're a trained chef. I didn't know that. So where'd you, was it a formal training?
It's
or?
a formal training. So I'm classically French trained chef. I went to the Art Institute in Nashville.
Wow.
I was going to be a doctor, but that didn't work out. Sorry, Granny. So I went to Tennessee State, and then I left Tennessee State. HBCU, Land of Golden Sunshine.
Right.
Left there to go to the Art Institute, and from there, I'm here.
So you say you wanted to be a doctor, then you made a change to culinary. So what? Tell me about that change. What was that about?
So my grandmother is a doctor, and so there's a passion to want to help people.
Okay.
But at the same time, everyone has a different gift about them and a different way to help. So I thought mine would be medicine, but it is medicine, but it's through food. So I just found that, along the way that, maybe I don't want to stick people with needles. That ain't me. Right. But I can definitely teach people how we can eat better and heal ourselves. Because there are many ailments that can be healed through food.
Wow, that's impressive. That's impressive. And so talk a little bit about your background and how did being from Nashville and from Tennessee, influence who you are today?
So being from a small country town, my great-grandfather was a sharecropper.
Really?
Real life sharecropper. This is my great-grandfather, someone who drove me to Walmart as a child, so it's not so long ago.
Wow.
But being from this country place, somewhere that's safe, somewhere where everybody is willing to help, and coming to Louisville, which is a lot like where I'm from. It's still small. It's still everyone knows everyone. So it wasn't a lot of transitional change in that regard. It was really just more about letting people know here, yes, we're inner city.
Right.
But we can still do these things in the city. So being able to show people that you don't need acres and acres, we can just use this tiny, 1 acre lot and grow something beautiful in the middle of the hood.
Yes, and it's definitely beautiful. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to be here, because when I came here, I was like, I know people know about it, but I wanted to make sure my network and what I'm involved in got to at least not only know about it, but if possible, see this wonderful place, and we'll take people around a little while. So tell us about, how did you start Garden Girl? Did you always go by Garden Girl?
No. So during COVID, I had started a garden with my husband and my daughter, and it was just a tiny little garden in our yard, and that got too full, and then we went and got like a city plot, and then it got too full, and then I said, okay, what are we going to do with all this food?
And how was it getting full?
We were growing like way too much on top of each other. I'm like, yeah, we're growing like peppers, tomatoes, watermelon, like we're growing everything in small spaces, so it was just overwhelming. And I was like, okay, we'll preserve our harvest, we'll freeze it, but we never found a deep freezer. I actually still haven't received a deep freezer that I purchased and paid for during COVID.
Okay.
So
you gotta be on the hunt for it.
You gotta be on the hunt. So, well, I have freezers now, but so I called my granny and I'm like, Granny, what am I gonna do? And she said, just can it. And I'm like, I can't can all this stuff. It's just like, yeah, you can can almost anything, just can it. And so I started playing with it and it was terrible. It was the worst food you ever tasted. I was like, ah, man, I'm hit. Like,
right.
I
So
don't know
tell
what
us
I'm
about,
doing.
so why can it? And why, why was it, did it turn out that way?
So with canning, everything goes into the jar raw.
Okay.
And then it cooks, you cook the entire jar. So
Really?
you have to be able to taste food from raw and just kind of guesstimate and smell and know what's going to come out of it.
Wow.
So
and there's certain foods, certain
foods you can't can at all.
Okay.
Others you can. Some are water baths. Some you have to pressure can. It's like a whole thing.
Really?
And
Okay.
my great grandmother did this. Actually, that was her job at one point in her life, was to cook for white people and
Wow.
can for them. So I grew up learning how to do these things,
Okay.
but now it's like the pressure was on because it's like I got to learn how to can right now, like right now, before my harvest all dies.
Okay.
And so under the pressure, I eventually got it right.
Okay.
And then when I got it right, it was just in time because our grocery stores were running out of food during COVID. And so people were shopping in my basement
Wow.
for jars of food. And they were like, Whitney, this is really good. I think you should sell it. And I'm like, nah. So they're like, yeah, sell it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to put a price on it. Nobody wants to pay. I'm going to mark it like way up, right? Sold out. Sold
Wow,
out. 8,000 jars in 1 year. So
Wow.
from March to December, we made 8,000 jars and sold everyone.
This is just
This
last
was
year.
last year.
Wow. So you hadn't done any of this before quarantine and COVID happened?
No, we started
Okay.
canning. I think I canned my first thing in like March of 2020.
Okay.
And so from March of 2020 to December 2020, 8,000 jars.
Okay.
And this year we're on track to do double that.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. And I know you talked about your daughter being involved. How did you also keep her engaged? Because I do stuff with my kids, but it's like I really have to drag them into it, you know. But tell me more about this.
So I mean, kids want to do what's different and they want to do what's fun. Kids like dirt, they like water, they like to eat, and so introducing all of the things from nature directly from the vine or from the dirt to them, they like that. Strawberries, blueberries, all those summertime things, that's easy to get them to try. And then you can get them to try other stuff like squash when you say, oh, it's kind of like a pumpkin, you know.
Right.
So they'll try. And I've learned that anything a child is involved in growing, they're at least gonna taste it, just at least one time.
We'll
So
see the finished product.
yeah, they want to see. They want to see. Oh, look at my pumpkin pie, or you know, look at my greens, or whatever they are. So I can get kids to try it, and usually they like it. So having her during COVID was she was kind of like my pilot person.
Oh, okay.
Trial and error, yeah. To
guinea pig.
yeah, my guinea pig, you know, to teach how to garden and then teach how to cook. And so it went from her to her and a couple kids in my neighborhood to now whosoever will in the city. So we have I think I've taught over 1,000 kids.
Wow.
At this point, and it just continues to grow.
Wow, that's impressive. So you like working with students and young people. Why?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Because young people are impressionable, and it's important to get our kids on the right path. So I know where I'm going, and I'm trying to take as many people who want to go somewhere positive with me.
Okay.
Sometimes that's hard when you're already 35 and you've decided I'm going to eat unhealthy forever.
Right.
But when you have someone who's 6 or 7 years old, they don't know any better. And
Right.
so let's teach them correctly. Let's teach them how to feed their bodies correctly from the beginning. And so that's what's beautiful to me when I have someone who's 5 or 6, and then when they're 12 or 13, they want to eat yogurt versus French fries.
I'm glad you brought that up because see, I've struggled with that as a parent. So parents like myself, what are effective ways? Because the other dynamic too is like, you know, your kids, like you could get your friend my son's uncle, I could tell him to say something and it'd have way more influence than I would. So how do we as parents convince our kids of not only eating healthier, but identifying healthy food options that they'll enjoy?
Well, first you could just bring them to Garden Girl, because kids always, they like things coming from different people. Okay. But no, there are lots of resources. Actually, TikTok is a good resource. There are a lot of people like myself on TikTok.
You're on TikTok?
I'm on TikTok.
Wow,
as a Garden Girl. Yeah, because kids want people who look like them or who interact like them. They don't really want, you know, even my daughter, like, she doesn't listen to Garden Girl now, you know, like, she'll listen to you faster than me. That's just the way it goes. But no, there are lots of resources on YouTube and on all over social media that focus on kids eating the proper things from the proper food groups. But most importantly, it's just exposure. We want to expose our kids young to as many different types of foods as we can. Pawpaws are out right now. So that's a Louisville native fruit that all children should try. And so, see, just something simple like that.
Okay, talk pawpaws.
Yeah, it's a pawpaw. So they're about yay big. They taste kind of like kiwi, banana.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to make some jelly out of it.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll give you one before you go.
Okay, excellent. I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so you say you taught 1,000 students. That's so dope. So like, give us some examples of how you engage with students, not only teaching them, but here at Garden Girl. So when any students come to me, my first thing is like, what do y'all want to do? What do y'all want to learn? Like, y'all see our space, you see what we're growing, we're cooking. What do you want to know? So you don't start off with trying to push something with
no,
the kids?
No, because kids will tell you. And kids are really good about getting a consensus amongst themselves, right? Okay. So it's like, she asked us what we want to do. What do we want to do? Like, and they'll kind of all get together. But yeah, I ask them, hey, what do y'all want to do? Y'all want to play in the dirt? Y'all want to, you know, do you want to plant? Do you want to grow? Do you want to cook? What do you want to do? And usually it's we want to cook and we want to make cookies. Usually that's what it is. I'm like, well, we'll make cookies. But first we're going to make spaghetti or, you know, whatever it is. We're going to, you know, use the fruits of our labor to speak. And they like that. So, but having the children in the space is the most important part, because they feel the love that I poured into this. They're outside. They're still in the hood, but somehow they're not in the hood at the same time, and that's magical. So once they get here, they're like, wait a minute, like, this person looks like me, and she built this, you know, like, she didn't have a lot of money, she didn't have this, she didn't have that. So they're receptive to whatever I have to give, and I have a lot to give, so luckily that just works out for me.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you talk about having kids in the space. So what does some of those spaces look like? Is it here? Is it a classroom? Talk a little bit more about that.
So we have done like straight out lecture type deal for some of our older kids, like at Logan Street Market or at some places in the West. Okay,
so you go out in the community. And
yes, I go out in the community. I'll go to churches, or there are just different like neighborhood groups for people who may have homeschool children. So I've gone to their homes with a group. I have a whole curriculum plan, so from elementary, middle, and high. So it does differ depending on what grade I'm working with. But I can go into their spaces. I can ask them what is it that you want to learn, and then we can start from there. So we do everything from talking about seeds, non-GMO. That's a big thing right now with our kids. Non-GMO, non-genetically modified organisms. So things that are not genetically modified.
That physics is science.
Yes, like a seeded watermelon. Like most people don't realize that like watermelons are supposed to have seeds, but 99% of them in the store do not. And the ones with seeds are very expensive. Why is that? And if we keep on not having seeded watermelons, eventually we won't have any, and you know, and that's not a real food. That was genetically modified for us. That's not the way nature intended it. So teaching all of those things, letting them taste the difference, because you can taste the difference. So once we get into those kind of things with the kids, they're hooked. They're like, wait a minute, she just told me that half the food in the grocery store isn't even real food.
Wow.
That changes.
So they say, I don't remember seeing watermelons. I know grapes are seedless and seeds, but
and that's genetically modified as well. The candy. Oh my gosh, I have a fit about that on TikTok. But the candy grapes, the cotton candy grapes. Like, what is this mess? Like, it's just engineered food. It's
Okay.
not real food at all.
Okay. So stay away from the seedless fruits.
Stay away from seedless fruit and candy cotton grapes or whatever they are.
Yeah. So tell me about some of your work with the schools.
So I've worked with a few in a few different programs. I've done everything from go in and lecture the students and literally the teacher maybe give a quiz, all the way to helping them build their gardens at their school, because several of our schools do have garden beds outside. And so yeah, so we've worked with 3 or 4 different schools now on redesigning their beds, putting things in that work so that they can reap their harvest. A lot of them just finished their season, so they had a good season, yeah, getting greens and tomatoes, and so they were able to get all those things.
They actually harvested?
Yes, they actually harvested. We actually went back and actually showed them how to take that harvest and prepare it healthy.
Wow.
Give them those recipe cards, so they were able to take a basket of produce that they grew home with the recipe card and then prepare it with their family.
Wow. So what was the feedback of seeing those students that probably has never participated in growing anything? I know I don't have a big green thumb, but what was some of the feedback you got, and what was some of the expressions that you saw on their faces?
Complete excitement, like from beginning to end, just from the point of I have seeds and I'm gonna put them in the ground and something's gonna come from this. Like they didn't even know, like, especially the younger kids, they had mixed all the seeds together in this one bed. I'm like, I don't know what y'all gonna have. I don't know. We gonna see. But
It's
just
gonna be more than some seedless
hey,
water.
it was everything coming out. And this, we had tomatoes, green beans, like everything in one bed. It was fine though.
Right.
But the point is that they were empowered
Right.
that they could do this. Like I can learn how to grow my own food. Like I don't have to depend on any grocery chain or anyone coming to save me, because we have a real food desert issue here in Louisville. And a lot of kids are somewhere where they don't have access to just walk, you know, a block
That's
or
right.
whatever and go get a fresh banana. They don't have that. So they felt empowered that even if there's not food being sold next to me, I can grow something. And by the end, they learned, hey, I grow tomatoes well. And then someone else was like, I don't grow that well, but I think I can grow this well. So next season, I'm gonna grow this at my house, you grow this at your house, and I guarantee you, as the years go on, just that one little thing that they grew, they can trade them. And that's what it's about. It's about having the access to the food and being empowered that no one has to come and save me. I can do this for me.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because food deserts are a real problem. You talked about how, you know, you started out with this interest in medicine, but then it's morphed into this love and knowledge and skill set around food, and how we know that all those things impact, especially the African American community and our social well-being and our healthy well-being. What should schools and neighborhoods and communities do to, what else can we do to address food deserts?
The main thing we should be doing is, again, empowering our children, letting them know that, you know what, you are in a food desert. See, the ultimate fix for a food desert has a lot to do with your zip code and how much money is coming into where we are. So right now we're sitting in 40203. This is one of the poorest zip codes in the state of Kentucky.
I grew up in this zip
So
code.
at one point it was in the top 10 for the nation as one of the poorest places. Now, if you have lived here, you know that it's actually not. But because we have elderly living and, you know, a homeless population here, just like other cities, compared to the few millionaires that actually live in 40203, we still come out impoverished. So that's the problem. So the ultimate fix is to try to get more people like me to give grocery stores. So if we can get more kids interested in ag, inner city ag, hydroponics, those things would help a lot, because they would be able to grow the food here and put it back into the community here. That's gonna take a little time, but that's another mission of mine, is when you feel empowered, I can put this seed in the ground, they may feel empowered that I can put a whole bunch of seeds in the ground on an empty lot where this house was dilapidated. And see that's our fix. Right. That's gonna take time. So we just have to empower them, encourage them, continue to teach them any little thing, you know, that we know. And so eventually they will help us find the fix, because the ultimate fix is far away. I hate to say that, but you know, no one's coming to save us. They're not, Kroger's not coming, no one's coming, because the logistics don't say come. On paper, it doesn't say that there's any money here to be made. So why would I put a $10 million grocery store here? Because no one's coming to purchase anything from it.
Right. But I think it's really important, though, what you said. Yes, that's a long-term thing. But for our young people, we realize the time is now.
Right now.
And so when a young person has that experience, first of all, and then they are able to see something literally grow, and they were involved in making it happen, they are empowered.
They're empowered.
Yes, and so I just think that is so amazing. For some of our educators, just talk about, because I know you don't talk about it, but you're pretty much an educator as well. So what are some of the subject matters that you feel like cover some of the traditional or formal focus of studies or courses in school, and how the focus on food, or how teachers can use cooking and growing food as a way to teach other subjects? So,
I mean, growing is a science. Flat out, it's a science and a weather game all at the same time.
Okay.
So
so
we're talking about the weather, where we are geographically, where we are, what grows here, won't grow there. That's a whole lesson. You could go a whole year just on that, on what can we grow in Kentucky, what should we be growing here. Okay. Then we're talking about the pH of the soil. We're downtown, so there's a lot of runoff that has happened over the years from all the factories around us. So a lot of times, like when I got here, my soil was trash.
So you had a brownfield, right?
Yes. So I had to fix this dirt. I had to take out dirt, bring in compost. I mean, the list goes on, and it was a constant struggle of getting the pH right just in my dirt. Okay. That's an entire job. That's someone's entire job in the state of Kentucky to do that for massive farmlands. That's a skill that our kids need to learn. What else?
Math.
Math. Cooking. Cooking is my favorite. So baking in particular, because it has to be accurate. Like, we can't dash this and dash that. Your cake ain't gonna rise, baby.
Right.
So, so measuring everything, teaching them metric measurements, because we don't really use those. But all around the world, it is used. And so, we pull up this classic French recipe, and they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, let's get the calculator. Let's figure it out. So, I mean, there's math, there's science. There's a social aspect of cooking and gardening, because anything that we do, we like to do it together. Right. Food brings people together, whether it's in the garden or at the table. So there's so many different subject matters that are covered, and they can all be covered from little kids to us.
Good stuff, good stuff. And you actually have a background in actually working at the schools and in cafeterias too. So
yeah, I was a cafeteria manager for almost 12 years.
Wow.
So,
so you've been around kids the whole time.
The whole time, feeding them great food, not great food. I mean, I went through the changes. I went through different presidents and administrations that trickled down all the way to me. Right. But all that's okay, because at the end of the day, none of that really matters. What really matters is are you there for the kids? Right. Like, what do you have to offer these children? I can't give you Pop-Tarts every day, but what I can tell you is that you can eat this and it's better than a Pop-Tart. So, teaching.
That's good stuff. Now, talk to me, and that's the reason why I wanted to interview, because I think your story and your experience and your knowledge and your skill set is so dynamic and multifaceted. So tell me about Gordon Girls. Is it a business, a nonprofit? What is a garden? What is this event place? What is this?
We all the things. That's what I tell everybody. We are all the things. No, so Garden Girl Foods Incorporated is we are food manufacturers. So we're a grocery store, but we manufacture all of our own grocery.
Really?
We're the only Black people to do it in the state of Kentucky. The first and the only.
Say that again. I want to make sure everybody gets this.
We capture this. So we are
Black history right here.
Yes, actually. So we are the first and the only Black commercial food manufacturer. So that means that the things that we grow, that we manufacture in our jars, we can then resell to Kroger, Aldi, Amazon, whoever, packaged, ready to go. And so that just doesn't exist, hadn't exist for Black people until now. We also can co-package other people's products. So if I have a juice company, Leo's Juice Company, we're about to start manufacturing her juice and help her get into Rainbow and Aldi's and all that. And it'll also be here. So those healthy products that other Black people have created will be massively available. So that's one part of the Garden Girl Foods. And then we have Garden Girl Gives, which is the nonprofit sector. Garden Girl Gives, we focus on the kids. So we're teaching gardening, we're teaching cooking. It's all 501c3, so it's nonprofit. We get money from whoever, and no one has to pay a dime if they can't afford it. They just come, they learn. And so we're wrapping that program up for the year at the end of this week, and we'll relaunch it in January with a fresh new set of students, and they'll be on a 3-month rolling thing. So for 90 days, they get to come for free. Another 90 days, we'll start a new subject topic, and it just goes on and on.
That is so impressive. For someone like JCPS, we know everybody knows we do the school part. But why is it important for an organization or any organization to support Black-owned and women-owned businesses?
We're at a disadvantage when we start. Black people, especially Black women, are always disadvantaged. So if everyone's at the starting line on the track, it's the way I tell people, Black women had to take 10 steps back and then turn around.
Wow.
So we had to turn to face the right way and take 10 more steps before we were ever at the same line as everyone else. So the more support that we have, the more likely we are to succeed. And we deserve to succeed because obviously, I mean, there are so many people like me. We have great ideas. We bring great things to the table. And so it's not asking to get ahead, it's really asking to start at the same place. It's all we're asking for when we're asking for support.
And that's the equity of it. And also, and I appreciate you sharing all this, because you could see not only how you've been able to grow, but what I love about it is you're pouring into students, and they're growing, and you're inspiring them to be the next Garden Girl, and then also, but you're helping other businesses now.
Yes.
So why do you have that perspective? And what's the benefit? Is that a good business approach, or are you going? Is that going to shut you down real fast?
So a wise person once told me, "Great leaders create more leaders."
Really?
So my whole thing is, I know I'm a leader. That's something I've had for a long time. But I would be a fool, okay, to come into Kentucky, not being from here, be the first commercial Black food manufacturer and not create more commercial food manufacturers. We have gifts in our community here. And so it's important for me to let everyone know, because there are a lot of people from here who have felt like they can't do things because they've always been suppressed because they're from here. See, I had no knowledge of that. I wasn't smart enough to know I'm supposed to be scared. Right. So I don't have that fear. So to say, oh, look, I did it, you good, come on, I'm gonna show you, do this, boom, 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 you got this. Showing them that, they're going to feel so empowered, and that's already what's happening. And so now they're taking those skills and they're gonna teach someone else and someone else and someone else, and that's what's gonna fix the food chain.
Wow, yes, I appreciate that. So, what's the future of Garden Girls? What's the question. How you gonna be the healthy food conglomerate? What do you see? What do you see? Because you just started. I mean, it's what fall 2021, and you started when?
I started really spring 2020, and so now it's fall 2021. So we're almost 2 years in.
Yeah, 2 years.
Not even 2 years in. So, but my mama's gonna get mad at me. But the vision is to be SC Johnson. Okay. SC Johnson, a family company.
Okay.
They have a plethora of products. You cannot go to Walmart and get stuff for the house and you didn't have something from SC Johnson.
Wow. Okay.
You can't. So the goal is to take, because like right now, if you wanted to purchase all Black made products, right? That's almost impossible. So, there's toilet paper and paper towels made in Detroit and Florida from Black people. There's soup made obviously here. There's this made here. So my thing is bring all these products together, manufactured under one umbrella, to fix the distribution issue so that we can have our products which are a lot of times better and more organically made,
Right.
more widely available for everybody.
Right.
So that's a big long-term goal, but
That's a great goal.
That's the goal.
And I'm gonna tell you why too, because it's not just African American community that's interested in supporting black businesses, but you have majority white and other backgrounds that want to support black-owned business because they also see the benefit of it. One, you know, the flavor we bring to the table, but also the impact it has on the community, and everything you do ultimately, especially work with the young people, it actually impacts JCPS classrooms.
Yes, it impacts our own community. I mean, whether you're white, black, or whatever, it's local. So, you know, when I say, oh, I want to bring all the black brands together, yes, it's going to help our community, but then also a lot of black people and brown people that start businesses, especially where we're making a product that's already on the market, we're making this product for a reason. Right. So I'm making my product because it's locally sourced, because it's better for you, because it's more healthy, it's not chemically filled. Right. So, you know, the product line is going to be better, it's healthier, it's more organic, and no, it's not just for black people, not just for brown people, it's for people who want to live a better lifestyle and who want to support their local community.
I love it. Products with a purpose. That's what's up. So, how can people find you? What all you got going on? How do the young people, how old people like myself, how do we connect with Garden Girl?
So I'm all over social media, hashtag Garden Girl Foods, hashtag Black Girl Chef, all that. GardenGirlFoods.com has my calendar. So on my calendar, you can find our hot meal of the day. Monday's always meatloaf, Friday's always fish. There's lots of healthy options in between. Also do kids cooking classes, which that's coming to an end. Adult cook and sip classes, which are every other Friday night. I do special events such as the Blues Fest, October 9th. All you can eat, all you can drink, party in the garden. So again, I'm being a resource. So I'm easy to find. You just got to catch me though. You got to catch me. But that's a very simple thing to do. Like I said, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Garden Girl Foods, GardenGirlFoods.com. SOS and a hoodoo, whatever, you know. Right. I'm everywhere.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for all you do for our community and what you represent and our students, especially as a black woman. Thank you so much for also setting an example. That's why I wanted to highlight you, because with all the negative stuff going on in the community, it's important that we create our narrative and we celebrate those like yourself who's so talented and willing to make the sacrifice for not only yourself but primarily for others. So thank you so much.
Thank you for recognizing me. That means a lot. This has been an uphill journey. We still have a ways to go, but this little garden that sits in the middle of the hood is shining so much light to everyone who passes. That was the goal, and I appreciate all the support people like you highlighting to bring more awareness. I really do appreciate that.
Okay. Anything that you want to share that I didn't cover?
No, we're good. We're good. Just you have to come see me to figure out what all the hype is about. I can't really explain it. It's a feel.
Right.
When you get
it's
here, you'll know.
Feel.
It's a feel. You'll know when you get here.
That's good stuff. All right. All right. On that note, this is Delquan Dorsey. Diversity, Equity, Poverty Department, JCPS. Thanks for joining us.